In the late 20th century, the English scholar and seaman Tim Severin attempted to reconstruct the legend of the Argonauts. It was the repetition of Jason's itinerary and following it, the modern Argo that cast anchor in VANI. The fact of ancient Greeks' mythic journey to Colchis was verified once again. While visiting VANI, Tim Severin was finally convinced that the kingdom of Colchis had been fabulously rich in gold. In 1876, the Georgian newspaper Dreba wrote, "Whenever it rains, the stream of water brings either a gold chain or rings or other artifacts to the doors of the local dwellers. This small hill is the true Pompeii of ancient Georgia." The river starting in Russia, one of the most beautiful provinces of Georgia, and joining the Black Sea in the port of Pompeii. 35 centuries ago, the Argonauts sailed up Rioni when they came to ancient Colchis in search of the Golden Fleece. Before getting to King Ayet's palace, Jason cast anchor of Argor in Suri, present-day VANI. Contemporary visitors of VANI are not surprised by Argonauts' interest in this place. The landscape of the beautiful Rioni Gorge and hospitality of local inhabitants make a trip to VANI rather attractive. However, VANI has received the worldwide fame owing to a different reason. Here, archaeologists discovered the Colchic township of the Antiquity period. The whole town has been a circle of defensive facilities inside of which there are temples. It was a cult town. Gold and silver decorations, bronze and iron statues, tools, secular and ritual artifacts, ceramic dishes, glass necklaces, and statuettes of fantastic creatures discovered in sepulchres date back to the 8th, 1st centuries BC. With gold and silver glasses, Colchic noblemen wearing brilliant golden robes drink the unique wine made in Colchis. The things once so important for their owners acquired their second lives, and now they travel to the famous museums of Europe and America and tell us about the unknown epoch. The Washington Post wrote, "The country where wine was made initially, the country where iron was processed when other nations still forged copper. You, the Colchians, are famous of processing precious stones. This was the reason that made Jason go to Colchis in order to get hold of the Golden Fleece." Reflections were also eloquent in the Old World. The highest level of goldsmithery and the rare elevated imagination turned this exhibition into a real miracle. Visitors were amazed. Ancient Georgia, the homeland of the Golden Fleece, demonstrates its treasure, wrote Le Figaro. The faith in God and love to one's motherland created and preserved for generations this beautiful country, Georgia. This song too has not been lost for centuries, and it has been preserved in the stock of Georgian voices. In it, members of the folklore ensemble Solari sing to peace, labor, and God. As for their songs, they were created here in the village of Solari, situated on both banks of this pure river full of trout and among cloudy mountains in VANI district, middle of Imereti province. Solari has fertile soil, marvelous landscape and air, fruit trees and tasty springs, and what perhaps is the most important, unique sulfur baths. It is common knowledge that kings frequently spend their summertime here. In our days, the resort still has numerous visitors, hotels built at exotic sites, and the local hospitable population make this beautiful Solari Gorge attractive for visitors. In 1822, Solari was visited by Jacques-François Gamba, the French consul in Tbilisi. In his memoirs, he wrote that the stony building of the bath had the antique and magnificent appearance. Ancient settlements have been discovered in other villages of VANI district. However, the most impressive artifacts were discovered by archaeologists in a kilometer's distance from the administrative center of the town. As a witness of the brilliant past, it was situated over a triangle hill of 200 meters height and covered approximately 8.5 hectares. It was the best strategic site. It has been known as a part of the global-scale Great Trade and Transference Route, starting from India and leading to the Black Sea. Meanwhile, the hill proper has not been visible from the main way, this enhancing its advantages and defensive location. Here, upon this hill, almost in every yard, at almost every point of the road, one can see foundations of carved stones, powerful walls made of raw bricks. During cultivating works, people often discovered sepulchres full of gold and silver coins. Like the township, 23 villages of VANI district are situated over smaller hills and mountains. Fertile soil and mild climate make rather favorable conditions for ecologically clean fruits and vegetables. Even from a long distance, one is fascinated by graceful villages with gardens, maize fields, and elegant Emiratian houses. A fireplace is still preserved in Georgian houses. In ancient times, it was the only means to cook. Well-known Emiratian cornbread is baked of maize. Ketsi, a clay pan, is heated in a fireplace. Then dough is placed on it, separated from the pan with cherry laurel leaves, giving food special aroma. In approximately 15 minutes, cornbread jadi is ready. Since times immemorial, it has been a substitute for bread for Georgians living in Emirati. A guest is God's gift. This expression demonstrates the way of life of Georgians. Ordinary people are always ready for unexpected situations. Even a stranger will be treated here like a close relative, and a table will be laid. These traditions have been centuries long. The township of VANI has preserved many traces of their age. In 1896, the first archaeological excavations of the township of VANI were initiated by academician Eftime Takaishvili, the great caretaker of Georgian national culture. Almost everywhere where an archaeological spade touched the land, the cultural soil was discovered. Gold artifacts, pieces of clay dishes, pitchers. Ektimetakaishvili wrote, "The gold earrings, bracelets, belt ornaments, and other gold artifacts discovered here, in my opinion, have not been brought from overseas. Rather, they were produced here. Neither gold was brought from elsewhere. The soil of ancient Vani everywhere has a trace of golden sand." The large-scale archaeological excavations and their significance have been associated with the name of Professor Otar Lotkipanidze, the legendary Georgian scholar. In the mid-20th century, the disclosure of the Vani mystery was continued under his leadership. Due to the scale of the works to be carried on, a team of archaeologists was made in 1966. Alongside with the young scholars and students, local population also took part in the expedition. For many, it was a matter of dignity. The archaeologists were fortunate. A 5 meters layer kept one more secret of the ancient town. Under the raw bricks and tiles reddened as a result of fire, the expedition discovered a complex architectural facility, a gate of the ancient town built in the 3rd century BC. It was used by pedestrians. The archaeologists' attention was attracted by a rectangular column of 75 centimeters erected in the eastern part of the gate. There was almost a square-shaped marble pedestal above that wonderful column. Marble pieces preserved in its upper part seem to be the last fragments of a marble statue standing above pedestal. Now it is hard to say what happened to it. No other fragments of the statue were discovered. Presumably, the marble statue became an enemy's trophy. Whose statue was it? Archaeologists are trying to find an answer to this question. Members of the expedition proceed to clean the walls. Even a tiny hint would throw light on the way of life of the local population. And at last, the destroyed gate turned into a reality in front of the archaeologists. They noticed an inscription carved in ancient Greek characters. It read, "I pray to you, my goddess." The architecture of the gate is a unique source of information. It tells us about high professionalism and exquisite taste of its builders. The wall is 3 meters thick. Walls built of carved stones were then widespread in the Hellenistic world and Oriental countries. It both fortified and decorated constructions. Further excavations convinced the archaeologists that the builders of the ancient city of Vani were well aware of and creatively applied fortification conceptions and systems of the epoch. Later, archaeologists will discover remnants of powerful 3-storied towers, very up-to-date for that period of time, and weapons widespread in the Hellenistic era. Judging from the location of the city and their high military culture, no intervention could have been unexpected. It seemed that they paid a high price for their self-confidence. 2,500 years ago, the city was invaded, destroyed, and burned. In the summer of 1966, the members of the expedition were standing in front of a newly discovered gate. After passing the gate, a preserved part of a rectangular courtyard was discovered. An altar has been erected beside the western wall of the facility. It is 4-faceted column standing on a rectangular pillar. 23 clay dishes discovered around it have been invaluable. All of them were produced by local potters and sacrificed to deities by the pilgrims visiting the city. The city gate has been an illustrative example of how strong the local national sacral traditions had been. While being loyal to their faith, local residents were also tolerant to other religions. This street was referred to as the Jewish Quarter. The central part of present-day Vani has still preserved the synagogue built in the early 19th century. Until 1995, up to 300 Jewish families lived here side by side with Georgians. After the breakup of the Soviet Union, most of them left for the land of their ancestors, Israel. The synagogue was closed. As a token of warm relations and mutual respect, ethnic Georgian neighbors of migrated Jews take care of the synagogue. The graves of the Jews, Moshiashvili, Buziashvili, Tetrokalashvili, and others, are looked after by the Georgian Christian family, the Shengeli. "200 meters from the gate, archaeologists discovered one more artifact. In the 2nd century BC, the city residents built a new temple at the site of an older construction. The floor, once a landmark of the temple, was totally destroyed and seemed to have been purposefully razed. Perhaps the invaders who destroyed and burned the ancient city of VANI in the mid-1st century BC were looking for riches here. It seems that they had grounds for this. Even what archaeologists discovered, at least approximately, can shape our imagination about the brilliance and wealth of the temple. Together with coins minted in the kingdom of Pontus, with amphorae, pitchers, and ritual objects, the most astounding is a huge bronze dish. The bronze dish was produced in one of the workshops of Hellenistic Asia Minor and brought here as a result of active trade and cultural links of Colchis with the Greek Hellenistic world. Its decoration is an excellent representation of Greek arts. Its artistic crown is a magnificent 18 centimeters picture of Nicaea, the goddess of victory. Its ornaments are decorated with the pictures of deities of the circle of Dionysius, god of viticulture. The discovery of a whole cluster of wine pitchers and sacrificed amphorae undoubtedly indicates that the temple was associated with viticulture. It is assumed that the Georgian Marani, a wine cellar, was a place of worship. In present-day VANI, Dionysius is no longer popular. However, traditions associated with wine are still very strong in Georgia. This is well perceived by means of the institution of tamada, a toastmaster. All toasts proposed by a tamada sound like prayers to God. One of the first toasts is to peace. Georgians are well aware of its value. In Georgia's history, the periods of fighting for our independence considerably exceed peaceful times. The wine has the color of bright cherry. Its aroma combines the scents of cranberries, raspberries, and sweetbriar. This is Aladasturi. To the north of VANI district, the climate is close to subtropical. As an entire Emirati, Solikouri is the most popular brand of wine. The wine, made of its grapes, has a rather touching, flavored, and harmonic bouquet. Tsitska is also among the true Emiratian brands of wine. As it grows older, it develops a rather pleasant, tender, delicious bouquet. In about 20 years, Tsitska develops its best features. It is the period of its blossom. This small village in VANI district gave Georgian poetry two greatest poets, Genius Galactioni and Tiziani, a member of the Blue Horns order. Both of them were very artistic, unique, and true poets. Even one would be sufficient for the Tabidze family. In the village of Chkvishi, the house museums of the two poets adored by Georgians are standing almost side by side. All tourist routes in Georgia pass VANI. Here, tourists taste exquisite wine, get acquainted with unique Emiratian cuisine, and for some time feel the world of ancient Colchis. They have an opportunity to be charmed by the view of the ancient city. The museum, which is a landmark of VANI and is named after its founder Otalrod Kipernidze, exhibits up to 3,000 artifacts discovered by archaeologists. Archaeological excavations are still underway. After more than a century-long works, scholars are not going to cease the excavations. The land of VANI, which concealed its secrets for 27 centuries, returns a part of its history to the city.